Unless you're a Harvard graduate with 2 amazing internships, job experience, loads of skills, and you're incredible looking and well-spoken, relying solely on online job applications is just straight up foolish. And here's a crazy stat for you. As of today, I have met with 500 individuals just in 2022 alone, and every single one of them, their primary job application strategy was apply online. That's how they intended to find a job. Now, that might sound normal to you. To me, that sounds crazy. And here's why. I have worked in Morgan Stanley in 2 different positions on 2 different teams. I've worked as an officer at State Street, and I've worked in numerics on 2 different teams, and also as a vice president on one of those teams. For all of those, I never once applied online. In fact, I never applied online for a single job. Now, I'm not saying don't apply online, but I'm saying having that as your primary strategy puts you at a massive disadvantage. Myself, I came from a no-name undergrad, didn't have a great GPA, not loads of skills, nothing of a network, absolutely nothing, and somehow I made it all work. Had I just been applying online, this would not have happened. My career would not have turned out the same. Now, your primary strategy should be focus on a single role. Don't be like, I'm going to do anything in finance. None of that. Focus on a single role that interests you, not just the highest paying one, please. And number 2, make your profile attractive. What is a profile? A profile could be the way you speak, the way you look, your resume, your LinkedIn profile, anything that helps people look at you, listen to you, or see you online, and decide what type of individual or what type of skill set you possess. Okay, keeping that definition in mind, I want to answer like a very popular argument that I get all the time, which is, Mark, this is completely not fair. You've never applied online, but you have a massive network. You have tens of thousands of people. You know managing directors across all of finance. Yes. But in 2013, when I started my career, I knew nobody in finance. I had nothing of a network. I came from a no-name undergrad. And here's how it all started for me. I spoke to my dad. I said, I knew you worked at Chase for 19 years early on in your career. Can you help me get started in finance? I'm interested. And he said, oh yeah, I know one person in finance. So I knew one person who knew one person. And that was the beginning of my entire journey. So I see people all the time who come from China or come from Japan or come from India. Oh, I have no family, I have no friends, I have no relatives. Mark, it's not fair. Just cry me a river, okay? I had nobody in my network. My dad, who wasn't even working in finance. That was my network. And I made it all work. So you can make it all work. And here are 5 networking tips, all right? And if you follow these 5 tips, you will be able to grow your network. And not just in size, but you will be able to grow your network to a pretty large size, very focused on that singular role you're interested in. And that way, if there are openings, they're yours. Okay, tip number 1. Every networking event, let's call it, that you have, whether it's a coffee, a phone call, a Zoom call, or you meeting with someone in person, every single networking event should result in more networking events. That means you meet a vice president at Goldman Sachs, you have a great conversation. If you see the call kind of slipping away or the conversation, end with, this was incredible, I learned so much from you. You mentioned that there's a team that does X, Y, and Z. Do you know someone on that team who might be interested in having a conversation with me? I'd love to learn more. It always results in a yes. Because that is you saying what you've told me was interesting and I'd like to follow up on your suggestion. You basically take what they told you and use that, not against them, but show them that you're engaging in what they said and they will help you. They will introduce you to more people. It works every single time. Okay, now that's really cool because that means once you get your first networking call, you will never be without a networking call. Okay, I know this sounds like, no, that's way too easy. It really works. Okay, number 2. Have a goal for every networking event. I had a call with a prospect last night who was interested in coaching. And she said, well, Mark, let's talk in 2 weeks. I actually have a call tomorrow with some very senior people in group XYZ. I said, fantastic. What's your strategy? She said, I'm not sure what you mean. I said, well, how will you know if your call is a success or not? She stopped and smiled, and a literal quote, you got me thinking. Yeah, you have to be thinking. You can't go into a call and not know what your metric is for success, because then when you hang up the call, you'd be like, oh, that was a good conversation, and it goes nowhere. And it's not always the same. It's not, I want a job. That's not really true. For very junior people, they're not going to get you a job, but they will educate you on what they do in the role, which then you can use in more senior calls. So have a strategy for every call. Number 3, keep track of every networking event. Have a spreadsheet, have a Google Doc, whatever it is that you share with others. Not everybody, obviously. Like my clients share their sheet with me. So I get to see who they're meeting with, how the conversations are going, and I can help them set up the sheet. I can help them, educate them on when to follow up and stuff like that. So track all of them like that. Number 4, have metrics. So you should know, okay, I've tried this strategy on 35 people. It's clearly not working. Have some sort of metric, whether it's averages, time to response, when you follow up. You need to have rules that you apply to your tracking sheet, and that will help you make sense of just the massive numbers of people you've been reaching out to. For example, you might be sending a networking message on LinkedIn. You might be happy you got 2 calls out of it, but if you send 50 messages and you got 2 calls, that's a horrible rate. So that would be bad. And you track this on the sheet, and then you have metrics that tell you this message is not working, so you move on to the next idea or concept. And finally, number 5, have a strategy. And what I mean by strategy is when you take all of this together, you have a great online profile, right? You're having your calls, your networking events, you're having goals for those individual calls, you're keeping track of everybody you reach out to and how those conversations go, you have your metrics. Now, what is the point of all of this? Too many people that I meet are actually really good at networking, but don't have a strategy. It's just like meeting with people and praying it goes somewhere. No, it should be a strategy. Maybe the strategy is start with more junior people, learn about what they're doing on their job, then take that to VPs and execute XYZ. Finally, go to managing directors, where now you know all of this information and you've done a lot of studying and you sound really professional. And then you go to the managing directors and you ask them for a job or you share your resume, whatever it is. But you have a plan. And with your tracking sheet, you see the success of every step of your plan, and then you do. Now, I'm not saying you should never apply online. You should certainly apply online. Once your profile is in incredible shape, your LinkedIn profile, your resume, you have a good strategy, you've talked to a lot of people in the industry and you know exactly what they do day to day, certainly apply online and you'll probably have some success there. But having that massive network in your back pocket, not only is it going to help you find this job, but it's going to help you throughout your career when you need a mentor, when you're looking to make your next move, and if the online profile submissions just don't work out. So it's an amazing primary strategy, and then have your online submissions as a backup strategy. I know this sounds a little backwards, but trust me, it works incredibly well, and I try to do this with all of my clients. I encourage you to give it a shot. Like, subscribe, hit the bell notification, all the goodies, and I will see you in the next video.